got Malou Walker. Malou is the CEO of Zicam. Zicam is a really interesting product because it's a challenger brand. She doesn't have the budgets of a lot of what we've seen today of Coca-Cola or Dunkin' Donuts, but she's the CEO there, and she's really made a great marketing success via limited budgets, limited opportunities, but with creativity. And actually, her success has come where you've taken a distressed brand to a robust EBITDA. And Malou Walker, why don't you come on up and let's hear about your successes there. Malou Walker, everybody.
Thank you, Barry. Good afternoon. I think my talk is going to be a little bit of sacrilege given what preceded me. But hopefully you'll indulge me and you'll come to understand that if we focus on the consumer, it works regardless of what we're doing and how we're doing it. And that's the key to everything we do. So meet Mary. We're going to take a short journey with Mary. Mary walks into her local CVS, and she's feeling foggy and under the weather and not quite herself. She's lived down the road from this CVS for ages and has been there thousands of times. And yet, on this day, she walks in and she feels like they've turned the aisles all on some sort of strange slant. All the overhead signage is gone. There's strange icons that, as a native English speaker, she has no idea what's going on. She doesn't know what's going on. So she finally navigates to her right aisle and finds where she's supposed to be, and all she sees is words jumping out at her. She can't quite figure out what's there because she's got 519 different choices to find the right product that's going to take care of her. And she feels like they're just making tons of noise. Still, she soldiers on because she's desperate. She really needs to find that thing that is going to take care of this wretched, debilitating illness that if she does nothing about it, will go away. Yep, Mary's got the common cold. So she can sit and do nothing and actually get better. So this is part one of the challenge for our challenger brand, Zicam. With her 519 different choices, let's see if we can get there, in the aisle, even with our bright orange standout packaging, we have less than 2% share of market and 2% share of voice, with $550 million in competitive category advertising. How do we get Mary's attention? How do we grab her when she's in this fog of a cold and make her make, let's face it, folks, the only right choice at shelf? Mary needs help. We want to help her, but how do we get through? Seems like a typical brand challenge story, right? Well, just wait. It gets a little bit more interesting. You see, part two of our challenge is the common cold itself. So Mary's got to make her way through all of the stages of the common cold. And with apologies to Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, I'm going to take you through those 5 stages. She wakes up in the morning and says, nope, not me. I don't have a cold. I just didn't sleep well last night. Maybe I had a few too many drinks. Can't be a cold. Next day, she says, yep, I have it, and that stupid coworker, if she had just stayed home, not gotten me sick, so she's angry about it. And then she goes over into bargaining. Please, I promise, 7 p.m. bedtime tonight, nothing but water all day. I'll drink all sorts of orange juice and make sure I eat my kale. Please, get me better. Then she wakes up again. Nope, I will never, ever be healthy again. How am I going to manage this? This is just the most awful thing that's ever happened to me. And finally, she said, okay, I got a deal. It can't possibly last forever. So the trick for Zicam, though, is that's all well and good, but if we don't get to Mary in either stages 1 or 2, when she takes our product, it won't work for her. So we not only have to get her to choose our product among those 519 different choices, $550 million of category spend, but we have to make sure she takes it at the right time, or we start a negative efficacy cycle where she pays anywhere between $9.99 and $15 for our product and doesn't get the efficacy experience she needs. So for Zicam, it's a veritable tough mudder. And we go on to our challenge number 3, which is that Matrix, Zicam, is owned by a private equity firm. And wonderful private equity firm, I will tell you, and I don't think they're even here to hear this, but they are a wonderful private equity firm, but they're very private equity nonetheless. So they're very intensely focused on short-term financial metrics, as is appropriate. And we've been in the investment for 5.5 years now, so I feel like I've got a use-by date, but, and this actually is not a picture of our board meetings. So it's a little bit easier, but still, so that encumbers our ability to grow this business for the longer term, and let's face it, do what we need to do, which is help Mary. So we need to place our good bets, because if we make too many bad bets, there's very little time or resources to recover. And too many bad bets, and it's the chokey for me.
Sell me a lemon. You're heading for the chokey, young lady. Chokey? Teach you a lesson. What lesson? You and your father think you can make a fool out of me. The apple never rocks far from the tree.
And that's not pleasant. But our challenges are just beginning to mount. I've been in the business of marketing and managing consumer packaged goods for over 25 years. And we marketers do love our buzzwords, and the buzzword to me that seems the most overused and tired is breakthrough. But I'm as bad as the rest of them. I use it all the time. It's what we do. And I also have this guy to help. He helps us break through. But when we're small and a challenger brand, we need everything we can get. So, you know, we have breakthrough programs, breakthrough new products, and breakthrough creative. And now you might think that I have something about anthropomorphic characters. Maybe, maybe not. But with the state of media consumption being what it is, we might be tempted to think that the path for the challenger brand would be through this ever-evolving world of alternative outlets and native content, and certainly that has a place. But the interesting thing, as we research our brand and do the work on our brand, what really drives it, we find out where our consumer is she watches TV. So yes, there's a place in our plan for digital out-of-home and native content and alternative sources, but we gotta do it right on TV. And we have breakthrough creative, we have wonderful, tested through the roof, and we know that they're gonna pay attention if we can get to them, but on a small budget, just how do we do that? We needed another breakthrough. But breakthrough media plan, I mean, breakthrough TV plan, who's really ever heard of that? Is that a thing? You know, isn't this what we see as, here's your TV plan. You put out 100 GRPs a week over a certain number of weeks, nice balance of 30s and 15s across a couple day parts, right? Not so breakthrough. Well, I submit to you that this sort of media plan in 2016 is death not only for our challenger brand, but for any brand. Not only are we up against huge, big brands in our space with very deep pockets, some of which I've caused to put into the marketplace myself, but we're also sending our message out to the most ADD consumer ever. So we have this creative that scores through the roof. We know consumers are gonna love it. Our persuasion scores are awesome. But while we're trying to put the creative in front of them, they're simultaneously Snapchatting duck faces, posting pictures of cats and last night's dinner, rerunning Alec Baldwin doing his best Donald Trump, which by the way is pretty good, or swiping left or swiping right. So what to do for a brand like us? And we decided that the traditional blocking and tackling was not going to get it done for our size and for our budget. So we had to, in the words of Adam Grant, a creativity expert, doubt the default and look for a better option. With our crackerjack marketing team and brilliant media strategist, we set out just to do just that and to change our approach to media. Enter simulmedia. And this is not intended actually as a commercial. I saw on the list just today that some simulmedia people here. This is, in fact, worked quite well for us. So 2 years ago, we dove into the unknown. We dove into the unknown and unproven. And it was unproven to us, certainly. But we got together with Simulmedia and found their model had the ability to take big data and fine-tune it in a way that was just right for us. They had the ability to take absolutely head-spinning amounts of data and match it with our well-researched knowledge about our consumer and develop very specific targeting. So we built audiences rather than going after blunt demographics. And they really helped us to fine-tune how we were building our audiences. So with our custom research, and was combined with their data, with Nielsen, Kantar, set-top box data, Twitter, MRI, NBI, TRA, and I'm sure a whole bunch of other acronyms that I neither remember nor understand. They helped to create an audience profile map, and they helped us roll up and a map to where we could find all our little bits of audiences. So rather than one big block on network, we added up a bunch of very, very finely targeted Marys or Martins or whomever. And with one company, we were able to buy behaviors and future behaviors rather than just census data. Better yet, they were able to provide us with great flexibility. Now that's critically important as a company that does all of our business between November and March, or November and February technically. We had to have the flexibility to be able to turn on our media just when the cold season was coming on. Because you see, if Mary's not sick or about to get sick, she does it, or feeling like it's coming on, she absolutely does not absorb our message. So it was early days, and it's particularly given our ownership situation, always a little bit risky to really buck convention and to try something new, but we thought the payoff was so big we had to do it. And I'm pleased to report that we've been working with them for the past 3 seasons. This is now our 3rd season. And each year going deeper and deeper into it and getting better and better results. We've eliminated the waste that comes along with bulk buying and blunt targeting. And instead, we bought little teeny pieces across a wide range of network to build up just the audience that we need. In short, we now buy TV like we bought internet. Laser-focused, highly responsive, nimble, and vastly more accountable, which with financial owners is vital. And we can now do it all very flexibly as the cold season ebbs and flows. So 3 years ago, when we stepped into this brave new world, we were riding high. We'd cracked the code. We had flexible media and efficient media. We were high-fiving all over the place. And our board said, prove it to us. Because it's marketing, it's to them funny numbers, who knows where it goes. We said, it's working great. They said, prove it to us. We were like, wait, but we're marketers, we know it's working. But I needed to prove it. I knew I needed to prove it, I wanted to prove it. It was important to the business, important to the stewardship of the P&L. So we set out to try to do that. Well, when your product is an acute need product, bought in a brick and mortar store, not through direct response TV and then fulfilled through the mail, it's pretty tough to say, I'm going to show this ad and get this sale. And yet Simulmedia worked with us and worked with all the data that they had and that we had, and they would use set-top box data and credit card data and shopper card data, and were able to close the loop for us. This was game-changing. This really was game-changing, and I'll tell you, it made for much nicer board meetings. With a brand that's, so we reached back and we went back to all that big data to find Mary and all of her doppelgangers, and yes, it's anonymized, and, but we still are able to say, in fact, I don't carry any shopper cards, but there might be a reason for that. She watched it, and we were able to do matched panels so we could know who was served the ad and who wasn't served the ad and how that affected their buying behavior. This was huge. A little bit Orwellian for my taste, but that's the world in which we live. And it's really been a godsend for us, for managing the P&L and for proving out to our financial owners exactly how well it works. So we placed our ads against finely tuned match targets as we'd done the previous season, and then we're able to tie it all together. So we knew that when Mary saw this,
feel a cold coming on? New Zicam Cold Remedy Nasal Swabs shorten colds with a snap and reduce symptom severity by 45%. Shorten your cold with a snap with Zicam.
so she saw that and she bought that. And being able to prove that was just enormous. And in a year when the whole cold category, by the way, you people were not sick enough last year. Please change that up for this year. The whole cold category was down 15% last year. Suffering in the United States, and I don't want anybody to really suffer, but a little cold would be helpful, thank you. Suffering was down 15% last year. The Zicam business was up 10%. And even further, for every dollar we spent in TV, we returned $1.50 in profit. Not top line, profit. So we'd broken through the cold season fog, the competitive SKU madness, screen ADD, and we'd reached Mary. Oops, I just lost my place. So anyhow, we'd reached Mary and proven that this is really, through the intensive learning, that we could not only reach Mary, get our message out, break through the clutter, but drive the category. So now building on that learning, the intensive learning that we had from this year, we're reaching out even further. So while I said initially that it was somewhat sacrilege to talk about the success of our TV plan in this audience, in this venue, we actually are reaching out further because of our intense knowledge about our consumer and doing place-based advertising this year. So we know that our consumer likes to fly, and we are putting ads in front of her when she's strapped in that chair in the airplane. And how perfect for that in terms of context, because don't we all know, you sit, you buckle in, and then the guy next to you starts to hack up a lung, and you think, what goes through your mind? Well, I'd like Zicam to go through your mind, to be quite frank. So I submit to you that innovation is possible in the most cluttered of categories with the most meager of budgets. And it doesn't have to be, we tend to think of it as big and explosive. It requires some thinking, some deep thinking, a rethink, a challenging of what we're thinking, and some intestinal fortitude. So doubt the default, look for a better option, and remember that innovation doesn't need to be big and explosive. It can be quiet and smart. And when quiet and clever drives share growth and profit, that'll work for me every day. So remember, it doesn't need to, breakthrough innovation does not need to look like this. I think I show my age when I pick out that clip, but oh well. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
I'm going to ask you a quick question because we've got Kasha Casey coming up. Great work, great presentation, and very clever and creative and innovative work. And by the way, if Trump gets his hands on the codes, does that happen? Okay.
Talk about intestinal fortitude.
Wow,
Barry.
really? Malou, you've always worked on challenger brands, or what's kind of your background before? Because it takes fortitude to do that.
It does,
Yeah.
it does. And I've been fortunate, I've worked on a real range of brands. So I don't think you could call Listerine a challenger brand since
Right.
I'm not so old to have worked
So
on it
you got
when
schooled
it was.
in that to take Zicam
But I got to
to
tell
the
you,
next level.
Mucinex was definitely a challenger brand when we first started
And
with
now
that.
it's a good
Now,
brand,
last
yeah.
year it was the biggest OTC.
Yeah.
It takes all types.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much
Thank
for doing
you.
this. Great to see you again. And thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Barry.
Great. Malou Walker.